Today we're going to hear from Royal Diamond Mike DiMuccio as he did his talk in Orlando, Florida. He's going to talk about how to invite. Here's Mike DiMuccio.
Hey everybody. Where are we? Orlando. Welcome to Orlando. I've got a couple of helpers here. We're doing this session, we're trading places, a number of us, so that we can get different ways that the leaders do their one-on-ones. And it's my turn. Susan Carver is going to help me. She's going to be our prospect today. Susan Carver, Diamond Distributor. And Elsa Boynton is going to help me, and she's going to be the newbie, the B. Elsa Boynton. Before I ever make the initial approach with somebody, there's a process that I go through with my new consultant in, first of all, obtaining a list of the people who we're going to go and see. And this is something that happened to me a while ago. I was actually working with a new consultant, and female, and she was really quite shy. Have you ever had somebody like that? And not only are they shy, but they're really kind of timid about who they might include on their list. And of course, you know that the value of your time and their time is critical, and so what you want to ensure is that if you're going to go and see their top 10, that the people that you're going to see are in fact their top 10. But then they really don't know what it means to be a top 10. There's no context. So the first thing that I want to do is kind of put some context into this so that I can help draw out from them really what is a top 10. Who is somebody that I would want them to take me to see? And sometimes I say things like, Elsa, you know, if I was the President of the United States and I was looking for a Vice President, and in the people you know, all the people you know that have influence and whatever the field of work they're in, of all the people that you know who might be a candidate for me to go and talk to about being a VP, you know, running as a running mate or so. Is there anybody that comes to mind? Any one particular person?
Absolutely.
Who would that be?
Gary McMahon.
Gary McMahon. Now, I'm going to write that down. How do you spell that? MC?
MC,
Yeah.
capital M-A-H-A-N.
Okay. Now, if left on her own, Elsa may never have included Gary McMahon on her list, because this person would be what we refer to as the chicken list, right? We rarely see that chicken list. We usually see the people who they think they can influence to get into the business, with the limited belief that they have in it to begin with. And most of the people that Elsa's going to want to talk to in the first place are really people she wants to convince that she made the right decision. Because we're looking for support, right? And so it's really going at it completely upside down and backwards. So I want to have some measure of control as to how we approach this, because the faster I get her started on the right foot, the sooner she's going to see success, the better it is for everybody. So the first thing is, we got a name. And we have a pretty good idea that this is a pretty strong contact because of the question that I asked. Now notice I asked if I was the one who was going to ask to have that running mate. Not her. Me. So now she's trying to find somebody who would be suited to me because she believes, you know, gosh, who would I put next to Mike DiMuccio? And if it wasn't Mike DiMuccio, let's say, you know, you're brand new and the person you just sponsored is brand new, then you'd say, you know, if Reed Nelson called you up today, and Reed Nelson said, look, I'm coming to town, I'm coming to your town, and I'm going to visit your home, and I'm going to spend 24 hours with you. Now, I don't want you to put me in front of just anybody. I don't have time for just anybody. I want you to put me in front of a person who you think would make a proper person for me to work with. In other words, I would have her thinking in terms of recruiting somebody for Reed. Because she's going to see Reed in a different light than she's going to see herself. Does that make sense? So immediately already we're getting to the people in her warm market who she really has a lot of admiration and respect for, because she's going to want to make sure that the person she puts in front of Reed Nelson is somebody he would feel the same way about, because she has admiration and respect for him. So I've just created a context so that she immediately starts to see the kind of people I'm asking to see at first. The chicken list. Because you know what? Even if we don't sponsor anybody in that chicken list, which by the way is rare, but even if we don't, we would have gotten through the biggest hurdle of all. Fear. Fear of contacting somebody. Fear, and so she would be immune to contacting anybody else from that point forward. She'd be very confident in being able to do that. And what you'll also find is the more successful somebody is, the easier it is to approach them. The more open that they are, the more willing they are to help. Again, based on how we approach them. Okay, Elsa. Now, Gary is obviously somebody who you feel's got what it takes to be successful in business, right?
Definitely.
So would you say they're influential?
Absolutely.
Resourceful?
Absolutely.
Large contact base, success in business? Yeah, I mean, all the things that would make a
Very
diamond and a
credible.
royal diamond.
Very
Okay. So we know logistically they're a good candidate. In other words, they're an asset to your company. If you could acquire that asset, it would be a tremendous thing, right? Versus a liability. You know, I've found the simplest way to take a person's list and chop it up. Are they an asset or a liability to your company? It's pretty simple, isn't it? So this is somebody you'd consider an asset. Boy, if this person could get excited about, and he can, if they could see what we see, whew, that would be a tremendous asset to the company you're building. Would you agree?
Definitely.
So logistics taken care of. Now, Elsa, you could have picked just about anybody. Tell me why Gary. Why would you want to be in business with Gary?
Because my husband was in business with him for years. He was the head of Mass Mutual in Virginia, just as George was in Baltimore. They took him up to be the head of sales in Mass Mutual of the whole entire sales department. The man is an incredible worker. I happen to love him to death. I can't think of anybody I'd rather spend time with. And I have to tell you a tale. I finally signed him up. It took me 9 years to even talk to him. Where were you when I was starting this business?
Now, Elsa, let me just hold you there. What you've just explained to me is what we already know. We already know this person's a bigwig,
Yeah.
big shot. Logistically, they're the right candidate. That's not what I want to know. I don't want to know why logistically they are. I want to know why emotionally they are. Tell me why you would want to be in business with this person.
Listen, the main reason for me is because I like him. He's a good man. I like him. He's a family man. He cares about people. When he sees a cause or grasps the cause, he goes after it with passion and sticks with it. He's the kind of person that I would enjoy being in any type of endeavor, he and his wife, for the rest of my days.
Wow.
Good people.
Wow. Now, does that sound like the kind of person you'd want to... That's a wow for me. So not only are they logistically the right candidate, boy, do you ever have a reason to contact these people.
No.
So now, if we took the logistics out for a second, and we made that call, we called Gary, who would you feel more comfortable talking to, Gary, myself or yourself?
Oh, you.
Okay. Well, could you do me this first, though? Would you mind calling Gary and telling him everything you just told me as to why we're calling him?
No, I have no problem.
So could you repeat that for him? Gary, I'm calling you because...
Oh, absolutely. Gary, I'm calling you because I've been thinking about you. I'm thinking about people I'd love to bring back into my life, and you are without a doubt one of the finest young men I have ever known. Your passion is unbelievable. You're fun to be with. You take a cause. You stick with it. You're a good, solid person, and you and Patsy are absolutely so dear to me and George that I can't think of anybody I'd rather be involved with for the rest of my life.
Now, would it matter what she said from that point forward?
Selling Girl Scouts cookies.
Right? Now we have a real motive. So what we've just accomplished is we've gotten to the bottom of your motive, Elsa, your motive for contacting Gary. Logistically, we've already established that. It's a business decision. He's an asset. Great. But that's not the motive for calling him and how you're going to express to him what you want to express to him. Remember, the first step in this process is having somebody want to know what you're offering, want to know what you want to talk to them about. They've got busy lives. They are not waiting for us. And so the first thing we've established now is Elsa's motive for contacting Gary, and it's not based on logistics. That's why Gary's name is on the list. Why it made the top 10. We use the logistical argument for that. Now what we're trying to figure out is, why is she going to pick up the phone and call this person? And how is she going to convey to this person why she wants that person to be involved with her in whatever, weekend or whatever. Now, did you feel that was a pretty compelling reason why Gary would now pay attention to whatever she said? Me too. And I discovered this by accident. What happened was I was working with this distributor, and they had this huge list. They did their $1 million list the way they're supposed to. And I said, okay, what I want you to do now for me is I want you to use your yellow highlighter, and I want you to highlight the top 20 names on that list. And they highlighted the top 20 names. They went through the whole list. And I said, now, one more thing I want you to do. I want you to organize that list in terms of numbers 1 through 10. And they organized the list numbers 1 through 10. And then I said, why is this person number 1? Why did you pick them to be number 1 and not this person? And when they answered the question as you did, Elsa. Well, because they're this and they're that and blah, blah, blah. Okay, I understand all that. But give me another reason. Let's get to the emotional side of this, because you could have picked anybody to be number 1. These are all good prospects. Why this person? And something happened, and they went into that. All of a sudden, they started talking about this person with passion and enthusiasm and excitement, not fear and shyness and timidness. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. And I thought, could you tell them that? Could you feel comfortable saying that to them? Well, yeah. Why? Because it's true. It's how they feel. I thought, well, great. Now all you have to do is add the tagline. I've got something I'm really excited about. I think you and I could do work together. I don't know if it's for you. I mean, now we add the tagline and get the appointment. It was really simple. Well, here's what happened. That night I was doing an in-home in their living room with their family members and a few friends. And she would disappear. This was my first in-home with her. And she'd be disappearing. I'm wondering, where on earth is this person going? But I'd be doing this presentation, they'd come back after, then they'd disappear again. Finally, at the end of it all, everybody left. I said, what gives? Like, where were you? You're supposed to be paying attention, learning to what I'm doing. She says, well, I had all these people I wanted to call. When has that happened to you? And it struck me. It was like, holy smokes. It was like finding the goose that lays the golden egg. All of a sudden I knew what it took to get this person out of their shell, out of their box, to contact the people they had the utmost respect for in a manner that was respectful and true, that allowed them to be who they are, and every single one wanted the information. Amazing. And so this is the first part of the exercise, is who are we going to contact and how are we going to approach them in a manner that's respectful, honest, and inviting. And so now what we have to do is add the tagline. Now before we do that, let me ask you this question, Elsa. You know Gary pretty good. You've already mentioned a few things about Gary that may be their motive for getting involved in Nikken. So there's your motive, because you like them, you think they're a great person, you enjoy being with them, you know that they're a family person, they're the kind of person you'd want to bring into your life. These are all your reasons. Now tell me what their motive might be for building a business such as Nikken's business. You've already mentioned a few points.
One, I know, because I know Gary, he has to be on purpose. He has to have some reason to get up every morning and make a difference. I know that would be important to him. He cares desperately about people and always wants to help. He's always concerned about our mutual friends, any of them with any problems. Gary's the first to be concerned. What can we do? How can we help them? And I also know, although he's a very wealthy man, that having an ongoing source of income, to never cut your source, you never cut the string, folks. You always want to have an ability to step out there and add more money to the coffers.
So, if I was to paraphrase that, you might say, Gary's the kind of person who needs a cause, loves to help people, and really doesn't object to making a little money on the side. But in terms of order of priority, you'd say, they love people, they love to help people, and boy, if they could make money doing that, what the heck? That'd be a nice little bonus. Sounds to me like a Bruce Black.
Oh, definitely.
In fact, that's exactly how I approached Bruce Black. Was I contacted Bruce and I told him I'd come across something that I thought was very important and worthy of his attention. I said that I don't know if it's for him, but I know that he loves people, he likes to help people. I said to him, I'm calling him because of the respect and admiration that I have for him and his passion for people. I said, and if we were to get involved with this and actually succeeded, because I suggested that we might even fail, we might even make some money at it. And his response to me was, quote, when I said, can I come over and show you? Quote, sure kid, Come on over, show me what you got. That's what he said. And from Bruce Black, the first person I contacted, the first person I sponsored, after I did an ABC call with Reed Nelson, has come the lion's share of my organization, which includes Bo Tanis, Ihor Lenko, Linda Proctor, the Galleys, Ahuva Simone, you name it. I mean, the list goes on. So, doing it right, doing it with the right people, makes all the difference in the world. It's not just about seeing the numbers. You can do the wrong thing 100 times, and it's still the wrong thing. You know, they say practice makes perfect. No, it doesn't. Practice makes permanent.
Can I add one point here?
Please.
That's a hoot. I have to tell you that 9 years ago when I started doing the business, I don't think I talked to Gary McMahon. I talked to the guy who mowed my grass. Now, where were you, dear? I knew Gary McMahon back then. It's taken me 9 years. I just talked to him.
This
So-
piece of information is worth the whole price of admission. You're sitting here with two diamonds that are just going,
Duh.
duh.
It's all his fault. Where was he?
$200,000 a month makes you very smart.
Let me tell you, I tell you, it was something that it was a bit of a discovery for me, but it's gone further. I have a good friend who I've worked with for many years now by the name of Rick Tanita. He started a company called Global Partners, and it's more of a research company. And they've been involved in the network marketing industry as a consultant to many different companies and so forth. Well, they decided to take this little piece of information and see if there was any research in the area of psychology and human development that actually substantiated these things. And sure enough, they found it. They found that there was, in fact, a way to do this. And so they then field tested it and applied it. And their conversion ratio is 85% of all people contacted in this manner join the business. So I think that's field tested for 3 years, by the way. So I think that's pretty good information.
Incredible. Incredible.
There you are. Okay, so now we have a contact. We know what your motive is for calling them, and it's all because it's true. We logistically have established that they would be an asset to the company if we could encourage them to get involved with us. We've looked at what might be a possible motivation for them to do this, and now all we have to do is make the call. Elsa, would you feel comfortable talking to them this way, or would you rather me do it for you?
Well, now, we have to back up a bit. Right now, obviously, I would talk to him because I just did. But back where some of you all are, I would definitely say, would you do it for me?
Okay, well, do you want me to tell? See, now, I have a choice. I can say, look, Elsa and I, we're just together. We're talking about something that we're very excited about, something that we feel is very important, is worthy of your attention. I don't say worthy of their time because, you know what? Everybody's short on that as it is. But it's worthy of their attention, at least their knowledge. It's worthy of your attention. You know, when I talked to Elsa about why we might be contacting you, Gary, she told me that, first and foremost, because she likes you very much. She feels that you're a very passionate person, very caring individual. She loves the idea of being involved in something with you and bringing you back into her life. Well, whether I'm saying it or she's saying it, it's still the truth, and he's still going to get the feeling that it will give. It feels good. It feels like, wow. I know you don't know me from Adam, but you know, one of the reasons why we're contacting you is Elsa told me that you're a very caring person. And you really love the idea of helping people. In fact, she told me that you're sort of the first person on the job if there's something going on. Would that describe you? He's going to say, well, he's going to be a little shy or whatever about it, even though it's true. So, we don't know if this is for you, but we really do feel strongly about this. We'd like just a few minutes of your time to come over, talk to you a little bit about it. And if it is for you, and if you see what it is that we see, not only will we have the opportunity to really help a lot of people, but we might actually make some money in the process. How does that sound? Is that fair enough? And that person, and this is the way I talk, by the way. This is the way I talk. Very, as a matter of fact, very, like, they may say yes, they may say no, whatever. At least we're being honest, genuine, and nowhere have I mentioned Nikan, magnets, network marketing. All that stuff is irrelevant. What's relevant is we have an idea that we feel strongly about. We feel very strongly about this person for who they are as a human being. And we know that there's some things that are important to them that we feel this may enable them to actually contribute or do something with. Now, there's one other thing that I said to Bruce, and I would suggest that we say to Gary, and that is we're really looking for your help. We're not quite sure how this may apply to you. At the very least, we feel that you can help us in some manner. If it's not for you, perhaps you can point us in the direction that we need to be going in. People who you think we should be speaking with. And so what that does is it tells them very carefully and very considerately, being considerate of them, is that, we appreciate that this may not in fact be for them, and we're really calling them because we're looking for their help, and since they've already indicated, and Elsa's indicated, this person really likes to help, how are they going to say no? Yeah, I'm a real helpful person. No, I don't want to help you. I mean, it's a contradiction. So they're going to be what they are. And you're going to find out who they are really quick. But then if I ask the right question of Elsa at the very beginning, she would only give me names of people who would fall into that category. So now, hopefully, you've learned a little bit about how to establish a list of contacts, the top 10, the ones you want to talk to right up front, and how you might approach them in a very genuine and honest way. Now, let's say Susan is this person, Gary. So we're going to switch the name. It's now Susan. And Susan is all these people. Or all these people. Susan has all these qualities. And it was Susan that we had called. Now, I could have called Susan. I could have called Susan and said, Susan, how you doing? My name is Mike DiMuccio. You don't know me.
Hi.
Now, there's another thing that I want to establish. Am I on the phone with Elsa before I call Susan? Am I on the phone by myself with Elsa standing by before I call Susan? Or is Elsa calling Susan A with me on the phone or without me on the phone? These are the things I want to establish before we make the call. Remember, this is the top 10. If we sponsor any one of these people, they could be the next $1 million a month business. So it's worth taking the time to get that straight. These are the highest quality of people. There's a tape out there called Easy as ABC. It kind of runs through those scenarios. So now, what have we established? Am I calling her on my own? Are you on the phone with me? Are you calling her with me on the phone? Are you calling her on your own?
Well, before I state my opinion on it, what do you feel works best? You're the pro at this.
Well, Elsa, you know what? What works best is if you make the initial call.
I would think.
Because this is somebody you know, and you're going to say these things, and they know you, and they know if you're telling it like it is or not. They really don't know me. If you want me to be there standing by, you can just say, I've got my associate on the phone with me. His name's Mike DiMuccio. I hope you don't mind. Is now a good time? Otherwise, you make that call. I'll be standing by here, and I'll be listening in very carefully. I'm pretty sure, though, Elsa, going through this approach, that this person is going to be receptive to a meeting.
Okay.
We might even want to kind of write down some things before. Exactly what are you going to say? We know this stuff. But how about we start the call with, hi, Susan. How you doing? Have you got a couple minutes?
This is great. How are you?
Terrific, terrific. Susan, I know your time is short, and I really don't want to get into too much detail on the phone right now with you. However, I've come across something that I'm very excited about, very passionate about, and I think can make a difference in the lives of many people. And I really believe it's something that's worth your attention.
What is it?
Well, the reason I called you, and here's where I go into the reason. I know how much you like to help people. And that's really one of the reasons why I'm involved. I think there's an opportunity here to help a lot of people, and we can make a difference not only in their lives, but we might even on the side make some money. The reason you, Susan, came to mind is because of our affiliation, our association. I'm very passionate. You're a very passionate person. I enjoy working with you. I've enjoyed being in your sphere of influence and sharing that time with you. And I'm looking to bring those people back into my life. And I think this is a means by which I can do that. Now, if you got a few minutes, I'd like to pop in and come and see you personally.
Sure. I'll be home till 4 o'clock.
Okay, so there's one way of doing it. Does that work for you, by the way?
No.
Does that work for you? Okay. How would you approach it now, having heard me do it?
Oh, you mean how would I do it with you as opposed to what I usually do?
Well, just given what we've just gone over now and what we've talked about, paraphrase it in your words.
Okay, I would. If I were calling Gary, I'd say, "Hi, Gary. Hey, old man."
Well, call Susan.
Okay, Susan. Oh, okay. Hey, Susan. I see. I don't know her as well, so it's hard for me to get the passion.
Well,
that I can
imagine
get with
that
Gary.
Susan is Gary. Yeah.
Gary. Okay. Yeah, I have to really, really, really feel it, as you can tell if you're with me for 2 seconds. It's
But
got
that's
to
the
pour
key.
out of me. I know.
But that is the key.
So it's hard to fake it when we don't know each other that well.
And
But-
so now that
okay.
brings up a question, by the way.
Yeah.
What do you do with a list of names that you don't know this person? Or what do you do with cold
I let
market
you do it.
prospecting? Yeah, there's always a reason. And you better find that reason before you contact them about being involved in your business. That's all it is. It's just one more step in the process. Find out the reason why you might call them. And just before we go into this, let me give you an example. I was in the executive lounge at a hotel in Australia with Kathy Long, my diamond there. And we were just talking stuff, and there was the hostess. And my goodness, was she attentive to us. She was pleasant, smile on her face, and she was just lickety-split on top of things. And I just found that so impressive because I'd not been in too many executive lounges at a hotel where I saw that. And we were talking, Kathy and I, about this very issue. I said, have you been paying attention to this person? I mean, she's like on the ball. She's the kind of person you want to have on your team. And so before we left, I went to this individual and I said, listen, I have to tell you, I'm very impressed by you. The way you've taken care of us and how on the ball you are with things and your demeanor and so forth really impresses me. I'm not from Australia. I'm from out of town. But my associate here is living in Australia, in Brisbane. We're here on business, and we're setting up and expanding our business. And we're looking for people who really get it. And you impress me as somebody who, given the right opportunity, could really go places. Now, we don't really have the time now. We're late for an appointment. I'm going to give you my card. Kathy, give her your card. And if this sounds like something you might want to know a little bit more about, give Kathy a call on Monday, and she can talk to you and set up an appointment where the two of you can sit down. There might be an opportunity in it for you. Now, tell me something. Here's this person doing their thing, and all of a sudden they see what appears to be two very successful individuals discussing business, and as they leave, they compliment you on who you are and the way you are, and say, you know what, you're the kind of person we want to have in our organization. Give us a call, or let's talk. What's the likelihood that person is not going to be open to that? You see, it's about the person. It's about finding a quality in that individual that's specific and unique to them, and recognizing that quality in them. And that's what people need. That's the recognition you want to play on.
I'm going to just pretend here a little bit so I can be real. And you're Shirley Ann, and you were a cheerleader with me, okay? And we're going to have some fun while we're doing this thing. And you're in Denton. We were cheerleaders in Denton, Texas, and say, "Hey, Shirley, Elsa, how are you?"
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm just wonderful.
Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year to you, darling. I bet you're surprised to hear from me.
It's been a while, but it's good to hear your voice.
Well, let me tell you, I was just thinking the other day of just, gosh, how much fun we had. Did we have fun or what?
Well, you took all my boyfriends, but Elsa, other than that, we had a good time.
Yeah,
Did you end up marrying any of those guys, or
well, listen, you're
the whole offense and defense? Or?
Well, you're the one who got Tommy, honey. So
Oh, that's right.
Darling.
I got the garbage collector.
Oh, listen, we just had so many laughs, and I was thinking about you, and you're going to just hoot, but here I am at 65 years of age, and I'm an entrepreneur.
An entrepreneur?
Believe it?
You couldn't even spell that in college.
I was just thinking about all the people in my life and all the fun, and I was just thinking about folks I really wanted to bring back into my life. We're still spring chickens. We got a lot of kicks left in us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I just remembered you just were always the one who was helping everybody. I mean, and you would put together all the causes to earn money. You were always the first one. Even when someone got hurt on the football field, you were the first one out there. You're just the kind. He was always the cutest quarterback, too.
Yeah.
But you're just always so kind and caring. And I just am so excited about the thought of just hooking up with you again. I'm into something I am so thrilled about because it's all about people. It's about caring for other people. And it's absolutely about making a difference.
Well, what is it?
Well, I'm an entrepreneur in the wellness arena, and I want to get together with you for about 15 minutes on a conversation. I want you to learn from someone who's very, very successful in this because I am brand new, but I'm so excited I can't stand it. Now, we'll have this little conversation. I want to get my good friend Mike because he's a young man in Canada. And after you learn a little bit more what this is, If you see what I see, then I'm going to fly down there and see you.
Oh, that would be great. You
Would
can
that be
stay at the
fun?
house.
How about it? Can I talk to you in about 15 minutes if I can get Mike on the line?
Absolutely.
We'll call you back 15 minutes. I'm going to put Mike DiMuccio on the line. He's a wonderful young man in Canada, and I'm just going to let him do the talking, but then you and I are going to get together afterwards. Is that okay with you?
Sounds great.
I'm dying to see you.
Okay.
Great, excellent. Now that could have been the setup of a personal. That's great. This is all being recorded, by the way. You'll be able to listen to this over and over again and paraphrase it. If you have to, write a script. Write it in your words. See, these people know you. And if it doesn't sound like you, they're going to know it's not for real. It's got to be you. It's got to come from you. These emotions are yours, and they are true to how you feel about that person. Now, it could have been setting up a one-on-one, let's go see this person. Whether it's on the phone or it's live and interactive, there's a few differences, but we're going to do the live and interactive one because that's the full meal deal versus just on the phone where, I couldn't do a physical demonstration, but the conversation would be much the same. One of the first things I'm going to do when I meet Susan in person is I'm going to reiterate why we're there. What is it that's bringing us to this meeting? That's the first thing that I want to do, is reestablish what brings us together. The motivation. Our motive, in fact, not necessarily just my motive, but Elsa's motive specifically for involving Susan, and then what we feel might be Susan's motive, and then I'll direct that. Now, those of you who have not seen this before, there's a book called Creating Balance for a Lifetime. This is what I feel is the guidelines, if you will, for a proper one-on-one interview, over the phone, whatever it is that you do. Now, the very first thing, there was a bit of a debate as to which came first. And when I'm with somebody, this is something I picked up from William Todd. You don't have to do it this way. I just kind of like the idea of orienting that conversation once we establish our motivation for being there. So let's say we're going to go see them in person. So now Elsa introduces me, and I'm just going to use your name, Susan, so that I don't get messed up. Susan's our prospect. Elsa introduces me to Susan. Hi, Susan. How you doing? Great. Nice to meet you. Elsa tells me a lot about you. She told me, first of all, about your relationship. I think that's fantastic. To be involved in something where you can be working with the kind of people that really bring passion and life to you and enthusiasm, I think is amazing. And that's one of the reasons why I got involved with this particular venture. Secondly, she tells me that you're the kind of person who really likes to help people. And again, that's all the more reason why I'm really happy to meet you, because we really do feel that what we're doing here can make a difference in the lives of many people. In fact, it already has made a difference in the lives of millions of people on 4 continents. That's kind of what we want to talk to you about. And if you see what we see, there is an opportunity here to maybe put a few dollars in everyone's pocket. So you're not offended by that or opposed to that, are you?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, great. Now, this is, again, sometimes you have to be flexible. Everyone has their own approach, their own style. But one of the things I might do in this particular case is, if I'm sitting down with you, saying, Susan, would you do me a favor? I brought this brochure along because this kind of helps me stay on track. I tend to ramble otherwise. And the other thing is, it helps Elsa see what the guidelines are. Okay? So at the very early stages of building your business, it's not a bad idea to work with something like this, because it shows everybody that we're trying to stick to a particular agenda, be very specific about what we're talking about, and it keeps us on track. When you I just want you to look at this chart for a second. Body, mind, family, society, finances. When you look at this, are there any 2 words that kind of jump out at you? And by the way, I might preface this by saying, do you mind if I ask you some questions?
Yeah.
Really kind of get a feel for, the kind of things that make you tick.
Society and body.
Okay. I'm not surprised at all about the society thing. Tell me why body.
Well, I've been waking up the last couple of years, and it takes me about 10 minutes to just get going in the morning, and it's all those backflips I did, and she dropped me a couple of times during cheerleading practice. But no, I've just got some stiffness, and I can feel a lot of clicking in my knees, and so I guess that's why the body one came out, because I'm really unhappy with physically. I just don't feel like I used to.
Okay. I can appreciate that. In fact, one of the reasons why I'm here is how I was first introduced to this concept. I was involved in a car accident a number of years ago while I was working as an electrician. I've kind of had a few careers on my way to this one. And while I was working, we were rear-ended. That resulted in a low back injury. Went to the doctors, went through physiotherapy, chiropractic care, massage therapy, everything for about a year and a half. You know that feeling.
It's been 2 years now, yes.
Okay. Well, then you know what I'm talking about. And in fact, it was about a year and a half before someone came along and said, I've come across a technology from Japan that might be able to help your back. Now, this person is not a doctor. I mean, I didn't know that I had any reason to believe that they knew what they were talking about, but they're a friend. And I just didn't want to embarrass them. So, sure enough, I took a look at this thing. It was a magnetic pad. It looks kind of like this, and I may have one to show them. I put that in the small of my back as they told me to do, and I could not believe it. In 15 minutes, what this did, a year and a half of all that other stuff did not do. I had relief for the very first time.
That's amazing.
Now, Elsa, you had an experience somewhat similar to this. Maybe you could tell a little bit about that.
Oh, absolutely. You remember how I was always hurting. And then after we left school and I started having children, I developed this condition that plagued me all the rest of my adult life, where I literally hurt all over. And it has a name, and it has just been chronically the worst thing I put up with. And Dad and all his doctor friends, nobody could help me. And a friend, you don't know, I met in South Carolina, called me about these products, and I started using them very, very reluctantly, and it's been totally life-changing. I don't hurt anywhere. I can play golf. They didn't fuse my
You don't
back.
hurt anywhere.
I don't hurt anywhere. This old body doesn't hurt anywhere. Can you believe it?
Now, I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about...
Is it like a patch or something that releases?
Kind of. In fact, by the end of this, maybe not necessarily today, but hopefully if you find an interest in what we're sharing with you in the first few minutes here, that you'll give us the time to go, get into the depth of what this technology is. Notice I use the word technology. What the technology is, how it's configured in various different ways, how it can apply. Now, you mentioned society. I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about this. What is it about society? Why did that word jump out at you?
Well, I enjoy doing a lot, as Elsa might have told you, I enjoy doing a lot of charity work. Right now we're working on a battered women's shelter for seniors, for women that are our age that are in physically abusive relationships, and we're working in to have a shelter, a halfway house for those women. It's a grassroots effort, about 3 of us that have just started, and we started a nonprofit, and we feel that with some time and some luck, we can get the fundraising for this seniors women's project.
So you really like helping people.
Yes.
That's amazing. Again, one of the attractions for me, I didn't really know this about myself until I got involved with this. I didn't realize how much I actually liked helping people. And then when I learned that there was money to be made at this, it was kind of having the best of both worlds, a way to actually get on with a career in my life and make a difference in the lives of others. And I think that's what, Elsa, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about what was the attraction for you?
Well, it's going to be so exciting to you. You know how all the volunteer work that you've done and I've done, and you know how we give up our time. I mean, it's our time. I have logged more volunteer hours than, and if ever I'm out there, with my time, I'm trying to get money from everybody, everywhere. You know what's wonderful about this? We can write the check. Can you imagine being able to put money where you always put time? I'm as excited about that as any aspect of this whole business. Think of random acts of kindness that we'd be able to perform if we had the money. Here's our answer.
Let me kind of put it into a frame for you. I was introduced not only to this particular product and the technology behind it, but I was also shown the company that was involved in the development of the product and this technology and developing the market awareness for it. A company called Nikken. Have you ever heard of this company before?
No, I haven't.
A very large international company that has its origin out of Japan in 1975. So now I'm going to give a little bit of the credentials of the company, Nikken. The history of Nikken, some of the strengths of this company, the things that I found interesting about it, the innovativeness of the company, the integrity of the company, the fact that it came from a place where health and wellness were major issues and important. Would you agree that health and wellness is becoming perhaps the single largest issue in North America?
Yeah, I mean the medical news and HMOs and stuff, they're always in the news, and the evening news, my goodness, has every other ads for some kind of ache or ailment.
I don't know if you know the name Paul Zane Pilzer, but he's a very noted and respected economist who's written several theses on the subject, and he believes, as do others, that the wellness sector, that's the industry that deals in the prevention of disease and helping people in alternative ways through new technologies, is expected to exceed in size the healthcare industry as we know it today over the next few years. Well, of course, whoever is involved in developing that and promoting that are going to be people who are very successful, not only financially, but they're going to make a big difference in the lives of a lot of people if we can help people prevent these problems. And that's really where we are. We are the company that is spearheading this particular movement, a company called Niken, and we're involved with Niken in promoting this concept. And then I'll tell her a little bit more about my start, what was the interest to me, what happened in terms of my business, and so forth. Maybe I'll pass it on to Elsa with whatever experience, if any, that she's had in terms of either the products or the business so far. Okay? And I'll say, can I take a second? I want to show you what a wellness technology looks like, acts like, feels like.
Sure.
Okay. At this point, what am I going to do?
No, back.
Strength test. At this point, I'm going to pull out those mag steps, and I'm going to do, these are called mag steps. This is the product that actually launched this company in 1975. Now you can see there's bumps on one side, and contained in this is a magnetic field. So kind of bumps and energy, the combination of those two is really the beginning, the birthing of this company. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to stand on these, and you all pretty well know how to do that demonstration. We don't need to get into that for this, but I'm going to do a strength test on you. Now, she's going to be pretty wowed by that, as are most people. And I'm going to ask you, like, what do you think of that?
That's amazing. This is quite a difference.
Well, have a seat.
Yeah.
I really didn't come here, Elsa and I did not come here to sell you a pair of magnetic insoles. But what this actually represents, I'm not sure where that noise has come from. What this represents is the tip of the iceberg as far as these technologies, their immediate impact and their long-term impact on people. Can you see how perhaps wearing a set of insoles might give you the ability to resist some of the kind of stresses that you're putting up with on a daily basis?
Could be.
I mean, can you
Do you have
imagine?
things for the knees?
As a matter of fact, we do. What is it about your knees that?
They're just clicking. They're clicking.
Notice I never lose an opportunity to find out more. She says something about knees. Tell me about knees. It could be her mother. It could be her friend. It could be. She said whatever it is that she brings up. I want to know. Tell me. And so now we've established the technology, the merits of the technology, and we can get into the details of what some of the science is behind this and so forth. I don't want to bore you with that right now. But suffice to say, do you see that there's a potential with this kind of technology?
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. The difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what we want to talk to you about is promoting this concept and helping this company, Niken, become the #1 provider of wellness technologies worldwide. They have a mission to be in 100 countries in the next 6 years. They're currently operating in 35 countries. Our market penetration is very insignificant in virtually every one of the countries that we've been doing business in, which means there's a lot of success where this company is concerned, but there's not too many people who really know about it at the mass level. And that's where we're going next. They pioneered a concept, not only with this technology, but a group of technologies that when incorporated into your home can make a huge difference on the overall well-being of the inhabitants of that home. Now here's where I'm going to talk about the wellness home. Have you got a stereo in your house?
Yes.
Television?
Yes.
VCR? DVD?
Yes.
Have you got them all hooked up together? Kind of like an entertainment center?
Yes, I do.
Okay. In fact, if you were to go right now to an electronics store, you'd probably be shopping for a new home entertainment system. They don't even sell you these things as individuals, it seems, anymore, right?
That's right.
Well, Sony, as a brand, has really made it their mark to create an environment in your home whereby you, for now and forever, will be interested in whatever it is that they come out with to make that home an entertaining place, right?
Correct.
So you could say that the market's been conditioned and preconditioned to be a center for entertainment. The home is a center for entertainment. Well, what Niken is, or what Sony is to entertainment, Niken is to wellness. They are creating an environment in people's homes that the consequences of which will create health and wellness through these various technologies. Now, for us to get into the depths of that, it's going to take some time. Maybe we could visit with Elsa. And
I'd love to have you come over and see. I'd love to just show you around my wellness home. Just step by step, and then think of all the gals who need this. I mean, everything begins at home, if you think about it. Why in the heck wouldn't wellness? So everyone we know needs
Is
this.
it something in the air, or, I mean, what do you, I don't know.
It's about everything.
I'm trying to get a picture,
It's
Elsa.
every way that you consume anything into your body. Anything about your body. It's the air you breathe, the water you drink, the supplements, the food you take, the exercise you have. How do you sleep at night? What makes your body well? Lots and lots of aspects.
So do you think some of these products might help my aches in my knees?
I don't think, honey, I know.
well, I tell you what, I'm pretty confident, as is Elsa, but I'd be willing to say, let's give it a whirl. The worst thing that can happen is nothing. We know that there are no negative side effects, unlike medicine and surgery and so forth.
Correct.
One of the great things about this technology in the world is that we can offer people a solution without the complications of side effects. But again, that's just really one small aspect. What we have in mind where we're concerned, is putting together an organization, a team of people who are committed to the bigger picture. We understand you're busy and what you're doing. And this is not something that we feel will take much more of your time, but it will take a bit of your time. If you feel that this is important enough, I think you'd put the time in, wouldn't you?
Oh, come on, Susan. Can you spring for $50?
Yeah, I got $50.
Best way to do it. Come join me for $50. You're going to get a marvelous kit from the company that'll start us rolling on this thing. Order all the products that you can afford, and then start putting together your list of people. Because I don't know about you, I can think of 10 of them right now who absolutely need what we need.
Yeah, we have some similar friends that could probably use
Now
it.
Elsa's gone a little bit further ahead than I probably would
Yeah,
at this
because we're
moment.
waiting outside.
Because we are out of time. But let me just close on this
So I'm
point.
closing this thing.
Here's where I want to close. I want to sell the process, because I am not going to get this person building a Nikan organization in 15 minutes. What I am going to commit them to, or ask them to commit to, is the process through which they will discover whether or not Nikan is for them, or in what manner they may be able to help us. And so that's really all it's about. Susan, we have what we call a process of information. We know the more you know about what we're doing, the more likely you're going to want to do what we're doing and help us do that. This, again, it may not be for you, but you may know somebody who we should be talking with. I want to talk to you about your shoulder and see if we can do something about that right away. Elsa, we should
Absolutely.
organize that. But this process, I want to leave some information with you. Listen to this cassette.
Okay.
We've got a presentation that we're doing Tuesday night, isn't it, Elsa? And
Every Tuesday.
I can either point you to the public meeting, or I can say Elsa and I are having a get-together Tuesday night at her place. We've invited just the people, the immediate people who we feel we could put a team together, equally committed, equally focused on helping other people, and we'd like to include you in that meeting where we can get into the bigger picture.
Sure.
Great.
What time?
Absolutely.
7:30.
at my house.
So now, for sake of time, I have to close at that, but I'm going to leave this information with you. And what I want you to do is just think about this as we're taking you through this process of information. You said that there's an issue health-wise where you're concerned. And there's an issue where you're concerned where other people are concerned. When you're going through this process, I just want you to ask yourself, if you feel Nikan and what it is that Elsa and I are doing within the context of Nikan could make a difference in those areas where you're concerned.
It looks like they might. I mean, if we could do some, is there a way to do some fundraisers or something to help support my charity?
Absolutely.
I
We
think
can-
there is.
Definitely.
Yeah, we could work that out.
Because if we could raise some extra income there for the nonprofit, that would help us reach our goal of getting that house finished and complete for those women.
Absolutely. And the other thing, let's get a few little selfish things in there too. You know that every time we get together, it's a tax deduction. You know, there's some fun stuff we could do too. So I'll help you with that, but you come have fun with me.
Sounds great.
Good.
Okay, great. There you are. So, just to wrap this up, that could be a very typical scenario. The bottom line is, what we want to do is just inform them, get them committed to looking into the process. It's all been upfront, open and honest. Nobody's asking them to do anything that's uncomfortable, and we'll let the process do the selling. That's the key. Let the process do the selling. Thanks for coming.